ahead of the November 16 governorship election in Ondo State, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has set up dedicated hotlines for media practitioners to ensure accurate reporting. Announced at a media workshop in Akure, these lines will facilitate quick information verification to support a free and fair election. Alhaji Amosa Lamidi, represented by Mr. Tope Onojobi, noted that a situation room would be available to handle calls and inquiries from journalists. INEC also emphasized the media's role in preventing violence and urged balanced reporting. INEC Sam Olumikon encouraged journalists to hold stakeholders accountable, address voter apathy, and maintain ethical standards. What do you think about this media hotline and all of these arrangements that have been explained to help, with credibility in the election?
There's nothing wrong about it. It's a good thing. I mean, it's a welcome development and a step in the right direction.
Okay, so do you see it being carried out? Do you see it being as effective as it has been described?
No, I don't see it being as effective
Why?
as it's been described because one thing is to provide information. Another thing is what do you do with the information provided? INEC should not, feign ignorance of most of the anomalies that are occasioned in our elections in this country. Okay, media outlines. So, it's also happening somewhere. What would INEC do about it? What has INEC done with all the information that they've gotten in the past? Nothing. So it's not as if when you come up with policies like this, you have that sincerity of purpose and intention. I keep talking about sincerity of purpose and intention. If it is not there, whatever policy you bring to the members of the public becomes inconsequential. Let us see INEC doing the right thing with what they've had in the past. Then people can now have that confidence.
Now, let's see what you mean by doing the right thing. And you've talked about INEC getting the information about some anomalies during elections and them not doing the right thing. So what exactly are you referring to when you keep saying doing the right thing?
Good. In all the elections that we've held in this country, since the inception of our first republic down to the current state of affairs, we've always had election observers and monitors. And in each of all the elections, reports do come out. And most of the reports are usually the ills that that borders on the elections. Okay, you talk about vote buying. Is it low, the underperformance of electoral materials? Okay, in the case of the beavers machine and all of that. Is it the case of ad hoc staffs getting bribe from politicians, even some that are recorded on video that are submitted to INEC? Is it the case of vote buying that is against our electoral laws? How many people has INEC prosecuted? None.
So what do you think is stopping them from doing the right thing?
Because they lack the political will to do so. INEC is supposed to be independent National Electoral Commission.
I was going to ask you that. Are they really independent?
They are not. So that is a militating factor. When you are independent by name and nomenclature, and you are not independent in the actual sense, where you can be influenced by the powers that be. So what gives people the impression that if I bring information to you, you are going to use it and mete out, punitive measures if necessary? on anybody that is seen to be a saboteur to the electoral process. So it has become, you know, an endemic issue. People have lost total confidence in INEC. You know, so it becomes very difficult for me as an individual to say, okay, this is what I saw.
But
because I know that even if I tell you, you won't act on it. It will just be lying on the shelf, and it becomes a case of motion.
But this innovation, don't you think INEC actually wants to, you know, probably do things right this time by coming up with such an innovation?
Well, it's like as I said, that the innovation itself is not a terrible thing. It's a fantastic thing, even though it's not novel. It's not something that INEC just started it's not like somebody that just discovered fire or something. You know, it has been in operation in it's been operational in other countries, Western civilized nations. So it seems like these are not meant to be celebrated.
We have not. This is the issue.
Yeah,
when we have feats like this, Nigerians should actually come out and appreciate it.
Have I not appreciated it?
Even though we feel like, oh, it has been happening in other climes and it's happening in other places. It's happening here now.
Have I not appreciated it?
But you're saying it's happening in other civilized areas.
I said
like it's not like fire that was discovered.
That's what I said. I said it's not nuclear physics. It's not somebody just discovered a new planet. You understand?
Okay.
It's something that has been working in other climes.
And you don't think it's going to be viable here?
Are you
saying there's no corruption with election in other climes where it's being used?
Now we are now going to talk about institution. In those places that this thing work, they have stronger institutions. You know, when the institutions are weaker and individuals are stronger, policies of government usually becomes so difficult, you know, to fly or to be implemented. That's why I said the policy is fine. It's a good one. Situation room, anybody can pass, especially since it's going to be an immediate, you know, report. You know, the question now is, do we now get that same instant feedback or response to whatever reports that we think should be in the best interest of the commission? So INEC has so much to do to build that confidence in the people. Because if you ask the average Nigerian, what do you think of INEC? They'll tell you that INEC belongs to the highest bidder. And it's quite unfortunate that people now see it as an all-commerce affair. So let us look at a situation where we can strengthen the institution itself so that people don't see themselves as, you know, as stronger than the INEC to the extent that they can influence the activities of INEC.
All right, let's talk about strengthening the institution like you have mentioned. Who would strengthen the institution here? Because you're saying you've created a scenario that looks like, powers that be will get to, it's not independent, powers that be are influencing the decisions of INEC in some way. So if you're talking about strengthening the institution, I would ask you how would do that, and who would do that if the powers that be are having a wrong influence on the results and the operations of INEC?
You see, we have a National Assembly, which constitutes the legislative arm of government. We have the judiciary, which also constitutes the judicial arm of government, you know, and they all have a major role to play in ensuring that INEC as an institution is strengthened.
So what has been going on if we have all of these that you have mentioned and yet?
What has been going on
what is going to make the difference this time if we're talking about strengthening the INEC?
Now, the difference will be that the people should continue to speak. I know people have been talking in the past, and obviously these institutions of government, the arms of government I just mentioned, are paying deaf ears to the call of the people for INEC to be completely independent. Probably because they are benefiting from the rots in the system, you know. But INEC themselves can equally resist that temptation when it comes. Assuming the chairman of INEC today has been given all that he needs to conduct an election, all that is needed without any compromise. When I mean all in all sincerity. Even if you get a call from the president, you can tell the president, oh, sorry, sir, you have given me the responsibility to do so and so, and my loyalty now is to the people and to my work. Of course, the pressure would be so high. If it gets to the point where it's going to affect your integrity as a person, you can honorably resign and tell the Nigerian populace that this is the reason why I'm resigning. I have been given a responsibility, and at the same time, I've been asked to compromise, and my conscience would not allow me to do so. But have you seen anything like that happen in this country?
Let's go back to what you were saying earlier about strengthening the INEC, and you mentioned the judiciary and the rest of them.
Yeah.
And let's look at the role that they have to play. Well, your recommendation?
Well, my recommendation is this. Now, we have an Electoral Act that succinctly states that INEC should be completely independent. It is there. The laws are there. Now the question is, why are we not following the laws? The National Assembly, if they so desire, with sincerity of purpose and intention, if they so desire for INEC to function optimally without any interference, they can monitor the process and ensure that nobody interferes in the affairs of INEC. That's on the part of the legislative arm of government, because already the laws are there. If the laws are not there, I would have said that they should come up with laws that will enable INEC to be completely independent, get their funding, they spend it on what they think is needed for a successful election.
And you don't think that will be abused?
But the laws are there. Sorry?
And you don't think that will be abused in any way?
As I said, after that has been done, when you set up laws, you also set up a body to follow up and monitor such laws. That is why, that is where the judiciary now comes in. Now, if there are issues, if there is a conflict that requires the judiciary to come into it and resolve such conflicts as their primary responsibility, it is expected that the judicial arm of government does not compromise.